Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I have another unboxing for you all, this time a very special pair of boots. In this box right here, I have the new Nike Mercurial Vapor 16. This colorway in specific is called the Zoom Mercurial Vapor 16 Elite FG OLY, OLY standing for Olympic. This version is part of the electric pack that Nike has released for the Olympics. So basically a take on the safari print style graphics for all the boots that Nike currently has on offer from their lines. So the Mercurial, the Phantom, and the Tiempo. As I just mentioned here, I have the Vapor 16, which replaces the Vapor 15. I think this is the fourth colorway that they've released, aside from the launch colorway, the prototype. Then you had the Shadow, and then you had the Mad Ambition pack, I believe it's called, which is like that light blue. So this is the fourth colorway, and honestly, I think this is either the first or the second best colorway they've dropped. You can see that this colorway comes in a special safari print box, highlighting how these are a bit special in terms of their release. It's an Olympic pack, which means that it's going to be headlined at the Olympics right now and worn by most of the young players, like the under 23 players who are playing for their national teams in the Olympics. So without further ado, let's just open up this box. I just have to say that this safari print though is absolutely fantastic. My lighting isn't doing it justice, but it has some sparkle effects throughout it. It makes the box look absolutely fantastic. I do have it in my usual size 11, which is also a UK 10, or I think Britain 43. You can see the colors are multicolored, and you're going to see that in a second why. So let's open up the box. Your standard white Nike paper. And here you go. That is the Vapor 16. Here with its tag, the visual aesthetic on the bottom of the shoe will wear off during play, but not affect the performance of this product. I'll take that off later. And as you can see, just wow, what a beautiful pair of football boots. That outsole, very good looking in terms of the actual design. So yeah, this is the left boot. I'll put that off to the side. And then you can get opened up with that. Get the right boot. And then take the paper out. And you get your string bag. So yeah, I'm going to clean this all up, and then we're going to get straight into the unboxing. But before I continue with the unboxing, if you're enjoying this video and you're enjoying other content I've posted on my channel before this, I would please implore you to like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and it would also do wonders for increasing my standing and my overall popularity with the algorithm, which will help me with my channel growth. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Let's get started with some basic facts on this new Vapor 16. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, this boot is the replacement to the Nike Mercurial Vapor 15, which was, that previous generation with the Vaporposit Plus upper, and also by extension, the Nike Mercurial Superfly 9 Elite, which is also replaced by the Nike Mercurial Superfly 10 Elite. Don't worry, I will be getting a Superfly 10 later on for this generation. Not sure which colorway, but I will be getting one in the future that you guys will probably see me unbox and maybe review depending on what kind of colorway it is. Either way, this Vapor 16 is a very different approach to what we got for the last two generations, going back to more of a sock-like, knit-like focus, whereas the previous two generations were more mesh-like and plasticky focused. And I'll get into more of that on the tech specs. Right now, I actually want to discuss the whole colorway and what it's inspired by. So on its own, the colorway to me is very beautiful. You can see you get kind of like a whitish grayish upper here. At least that's what it looks like in terms of the lighting. Online it looks more white, this upper, but it's really not like a white. It's more of a, like, to compare, the paper is white. This is, you can kind of see that color contrast. But so it's a really nice kind of grayish white color, and I like how it contrasts against the safari print that you have fading downwards into the bottom with this outsole, which again, another iridescent outsole that I've picked up on a pair of boots. I think that's 6 in a row or 5 in a row, whatever, but unreal. You get a nice swoosh here that's also black with that same safari print, but with this like navy coloring and this kind of like light blue speckling, which also contributes to that multicolor which you saw in the box at the start. And you can see that they've put the air branding around the back of the heel. Personally, I like this a lot better than the original air branding that you had on the original Vapor 15, so you'll remember it had air written on the instep. And then with the refresh graphics pack, I think they put air right here. And yeah, so you also had air right here. So I think this just looks a lot better because it's kind of just out of the way and in the back where the heel is. Lastly, I just want to touch on the swoosh placement. The swoosh placement is like, I think they kind of downgrade on it a bit. I liked when they went back to that toe swoosh originally on the Vapor 15 refresh graphics, but then they moved it back ever so slightly on this, and it doesn't look as good as it should, in my opinion. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get another pair of Vapor 15s or Superfly 9s that has the swoosh, like with the refresh graphics. And when I do, I'll be able to compare and see whether it looks better or not. Now, in terms of the actual colorway pack, this is from the electric pack, which I mentioned is a homage to the safari print that is used on Nike running shoes and also on the Mercurial boots. So I'm not exactly sure which running shoe was used on back in the day, but I remember that's what started the safari print out. And then in terms of football boots, safari print was first featured on the CR7 Mercurial Vapor Superfly 2s, in that CR7 Safari colorway, his first ever launch colorway, or not launch colorway, his first ever signature colorway, which is where you first see that safari print. Then right after that, you get a black version, which I think that was for the Vapor Superfly 3. So instead the upper was black, but it had still the safari print with some Volt accents, which looked really good. Then after that, I think you got the Nike Mercurial Superfly 6 Elite with the Kim Jones collab. So it was just the base launch Nike Mercurial Superfly 6, right? Yeah, Superfly 6. And it had that safari print again, a similar fade, but it kind of just faded into the orange instead of having like a second two-tone color. Then after that in 2020, you got a Nike Mercurial Superfly 7 Elite, which was a direct remake of that original Nike Mercurial Vapor Superfly 2 in the Safari colorway, which, again, one of the most beautiful colorways of a very fantastic boot, that being the Nike Mercurial Superfly 7. Immediately after that, you got the Nike Mercurial Superfly 8 and Vapor 14. Yeah, the Vapor 14 in the silver Safari colorway, which is another take on that Safari print. But what they did was they made it silver, hence the name Silver Safari, and it had some Volt accents. That being the last, most notable iteration of the Safari print on the Mercurial line. So this kind of continues with that, and I think it's one of the better looking ones in that kind of history of Safari boots. But I wish I could have got some of those, and I wish I could have had like maybe the Silver Safari, for example, or the CR7 remakes to compare to these, because that would make for one hell of a video, right? But anyways, that's it for basically the colorway history and my basic, feelings towards the actual looks of the silhouette. Let's get into the actual tech specs. As usual, we're going to start out with the upper, which has been completely changed from what was on the Vapor 15 Elite at the time. Basically, with this upper, it's kind of separated into three pieces of knit. Through the middle here, this exposed part is grip knit, which is the new controversial feature added to this Mercurial Vapor 16/Superfly 10. On the outsides, where you have the safari print, that is what you call atom knit. And then through the center, where you have the tongue, or I guess what would act as the tongue, you have fly knit. And so I'll go into each piece and talk about them separately. The main part of the boot that you'll be striking the ball with is coated in grip knit. And I guess the reason why Nike wanted to do this was to kind of, give something new to the Vapor. Before, in terms of, actual grip elements, the Vapor, or I guess the Mercurial in general, has never really had anything truly designed to help you grip the ball better. You got speed ribs on the Superfly 5 and the Vapor 11. And you had like some vertical speed ribs as well on the Superfly 6/Vapor 12. But nothing really crazy in terms of grip elements or like grip pieces that were on the Vapor or Superfly to try and, increase grip on the ball. And it made for a more raw and very, not slick, but a very smooth touch to the ball. So with this grip knit now, you're getting a more matty, waxy type of feeling on the upper, which means that you're going to stick to the ball a lot more. And just quickly to compare the grip knit that's on this Mercurial Vapor 16, and which will also be on the Superfly 10, to what's come before it. Right here, I have the Nike Phantom GX Elite DF, and then also there's the Nike Phantom GX 2 and the Luna 2, which is the direct continuation of the DF version of Phantom Luna or Phantom GX. So basically, where the ball touches my foot a lot, but I don't really like strike the ball, which is my instep right here on the Phantom GX. This is very, very waxy. And relative to this is a lot less waxy. Like it still has that same feeling, and it will definitely be more grippy than anything else you've seen on any other vapor or any other Superfly. But it's nowhere near as grippy or as sticky as this. I don't have a pair of the GX2 or the Luna 2, so I can't comment on how grippy or sticky those are compared to this. But I can definitely say this will not be anywhere near the same amount of grip. So it's kind of like just a subtle grip compared to what you would get with the Phantom line. Also, there is this swoosh, which I mentioned before in terms of aesthetics, but actually there's a bit of a controversial issue with it because it's very slick to the touch, kind of like placed on top of the upper. So you get like the grip sensation through here, and then it all of a sudden just kind of disappears when you touch the swoosh. I don't know how this is going to affect the grip and the touch on the ball. I doubt it's really going to do anything too noticeable, but that's just something to be aware of. Next, we have Flyknit, which is very stretchy and runs through the center of the tongue. This is obviously to help with putting the boots on. Nothing you can really complain too much about there. It's nice and white. And what I noticed is that the Flyknit here is a lot stretchier and a lot thinner than what you would get on the previous Vapor 15/Superfly 9 Elite. So I don't know if that's going to make for more, or less durability actually, and more exposure to water and things like that. But maybe that's why they put GripKnit, because as you guys know already, GripKnit is waterproof, which means no need for ACC, right? Hence, all you can see on the side here, you'll just see Nike GripKnit, no ACC branding. And that's why I think, I don't know, maybe the GripKnit is there to help alleviate some of that hydration issue that you might get because of how thin this Flyknit is. But that's just something I'm speculating on. The last piece to focus on is Atom Knit, which is on these sides over here. Like, so where you see this seam that kind of runs up the side of the boot on this side and on this side, this is where the Atom Knit starts and this is where the GripKnit ends. Atom Knit is basically just Flyknit that's been woven together at a much thinner ratio. So it's basically, that's what it is. It's just a much thinner version of Flyknit, which is supposed to make the boots much lighter, but also still provide the same amount of tensile strength around the foot. So you're getting a lot of lockdown, but with a much lighter product, which overall makes this boot's upper 3 layers: GripKnit, Atom Knit, and Flyknit, as compared to the previous Superfly/Vapor, which had 5 layers in its textile Vaporposit Plus upper, which was a major innovation that Nike was trying to highlight with this new Vapor 16. They've kind of cut down on the material, making this feel a lot softer and a lot more open and accessible to the touch compared to that previous Vapor. Additionally, being a knit upper, this is a lot more free and relaxed compared to the stiffer, more plasticky feeling Vaporposit Plus that you would get straight out of the box from the Vapor 15/Superfly 9. And that's not to say that those were not comfortable, but that's just something to be aware of. I will go over all of this later at a later date in a different video where I actually compare the two boots to let you guys know exactly what's going on in terms of the differences. Moving into the rear, you have this heel area, which to me does not look changed from the Vapor 15 Elite or Superfly 9 Elite. You have 2 nice synthetic suede lined heel pillows that are going to wrap around your ankle. And the only major difference in this heel area, you still get an internal plastic heel counter, which you can't see because it's like about right here. But what they've done is kind of like with all their other models, the Tiempo Legend 10 and the Phantom GX2/Luna 2, is that they've put a U-shaped cutout right here in the heel so that there's no pressure from the heel on your Achilles tendon. It doesn't depress as much as I expect, but that's just something that they've done to kind of alleviate that pressure that you would normally get from having a heel counter resting on your ankle. And that's very nice, especially for someone like me who has had to deal with a lot of blisters and ankle issues from previous Mercurials in the past. Looking at this opening, it seems that they've narrowed off the opening and made this kind of collar tongue thing a little shorter, although mine seems to be folding in a bit. But I guess this will also help with like that heel pressure and alleviating those issues with blistering and things like that. So, a decent heel package, a decent heel area. Looking at the insole of the boots, I actually have to take out the paper that's in here. They put 2 pieces of, like, I guess, not cardboard, but something similar to it inside to kind of help keep the shape of the boot inside when it's processing. And right here, If you get the insole, you can see it's just a thin layer of their yellow foam. I think it's Poron. You can see it has that cutout shape for the air zoom unit, which we'll get into when we talk about the sole plate. And you can just see it says, it's an orange, like nice thing, it says Nike Just Do It in that kind of that Olympic font that they usually do for their Olympic packs. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special. And if I put this inside, you can see the zoom unit inside there, that big white, like clearish chunk that's running all the way down the inside of the boot. So that's really it for the upper and the kind of heel area and everything. Other things to note, you do get a dual lace hole setup here, right here, kind of like with every other Mercurial that's been out since, I believe, Superfly 4. Yeah, continuing things with that dual lace hole setup that everyone's really familiar with and used to. Moving to the outsole of the boots, there are two major features that are going to be discussed that have pretty much been completely redesigned from the previous line of Mercurials, and that would be the actual stud pattern and then the air zoom unit itself. So I want to start with the air zoom unit. You can see here this window that kind of shows it off has been redesigned to look a lot more aggressive in conjunction with the actual outsole, but beyond that, the air zoom unit itself has been changed as a whole. Originally, the air zoom unit that you had here was articulated and sectioned off into different pieces to kind of give different pieces more spring back and more cushion depending on how you were moving relative to the sport. So maybe if you need to cut, change direction, take a shot, stop, plant, etc., etc. And the other thing was that you had, instead of these 4-foot fins here, you had those two rectangular studs in the actual stud pattern. And the main issue that people were finding with this was that because of how articulated the outsole actually, not the outsole, but the airbag actually was, it wasn't completely engaging the airbag and giving maximum cushion for the whole foot whenever you were moving. And you were kind of getting diminishing returns from the airbag. On top of that, because of the articulation of the airbag and the different points that were kind of, supposed to be activated during movement, you would actually get more stud pressure from the medial and lateral studs. So that's what most people would notice when they're actually playing in the boots. And honestly, thinking back, because I think I kind of got over that feeling, when I first broke in my Vapor 15s in the luminous colorway, so my pink colorway, I remember feeling some kind of stud pressure, but also getting the cushion at the same time. So I kind of liked that feeling, but it was also a bit discomforting just because it was weird to me at the time. And then thinking about my Stealth Pack Vapor 15s in the Soft Ground Pro variation, the stud pressure was even worse because the studs on those are just a lot longer. So honestly, like, that was something that was kind of annoying, and I'm glad that they've kind of addressed that by making this new airbag a completely one-piece airbag. There's no more articulation or split joints. It's just one piece, and that should allow more cushion and more recruitment to happen throughout the airbag to give you the proper cushion and maybe even a bit of spring back that you need when you're playing in the boots. On top of that, moving to the stud pattern, you can see that Nike have gone back to their traditional chevron blade stud design. You have your 4 chevrons here, you have your 2 blades here. In the back, the heel studs are more or less the same, but the changes really come with these studs right here, and then through the middle on the actual airbag window, you can see these kind of fins, and they're called the 4-foot speed fins, and their job is basically to engage the airbag even more. As I mentioned earlier, you had those 2 rectangular studs that were kind of like right here and right here, kind of going off memory, and those were supposed to help engage the airbag a bit, but they weren't doing enough to kind of push the airbag up and kind of give you that cushion that you needed. So Nike decided to put these 4-foot fins in. I don't know how well you can see them because of this like iridescent effect. Maybe you can see it like right here, but you can see you have these ridges starting off pretty small and getting taller and taller until you get to like right here, where that's the ridges at its tallest, and it's supposed to help activate the airbag and give you more of that cushion and responsive feel that you need when you're running and changing direction, planting, pivoting, twisting, etc., etc. This is definitely more aggressive than the previous stud pattern that you had on the Vapor 15, and I honestly I'm looking forward to using it like so very much, because I honestly, while I like the previous one, I feel like it did leave a bit to be desired in terms of the actual aggressiveness of the stud pattern. So it's nice to see that Nike have kind of gone back to their roots. In terms of actual spring back and snappiness, this outsole does feel a bit more flexible than what was on the previous generation. And I don't know if that has to do with making these fins more durable, but it just has a little less of a springy feel through this forefoot area. But in the midfoot, it's very stable and very stiff. They've kind of done a little rework of that kind of junction right here in the midfoot in terms of the aesthetics, but still feels pretty solid. It doesn't really have much bend to it. It's like slightly a little bit more flexible. Not as bad as something like the F50, for example, which is extremely flexible, but it's still not nearly as stiff as previous Vapors. So that's kind of interesting. But either way, that's it for the tech specs of this new Vapor. And now that I've kind of gone through everything that's, there to be had on the Vapor, I'm going to put them on, give you guys my first impressions of what they feel like on feet, and let you know what we think by just going through everything. So without further ado, let's get into the on feet portion of this video. All right, so I have the boots laid here for you guys to see. The laces are fully pulled up. I also have my Nike grip socks, the ones with, a little bit of a grip element to the bottom, to try and give you guys a full sense of what they feel like to put on feet. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be my first time actually trying them on. So let's just see how they fit right out of the box. So slide that in. Oh, okay. That is nice. That is very nice, actually. Let's do this up, actually, really quick. Oh, missed the lace. Like that, and then pull this across. Oh, that is an amazing feeling. Wow. Finish tying the lace tight. Okay. And then we're going to do the right boot. Let me just get my foot in. Oh yeah, that is amazing. That feels fantastic. Okay, I'm already getting some really nice impressions from these. Can't wait to tell you guys what they're like. Pull that up. Pull the laces tight. Missed one. Okay. So yeah, guys, I've got the Vapor 15, the Vapor 16s on. Give you a nice 360 of them. So with these impressions, I'm going to kind of go through the boot the same way I would go through a kind of tech spec unboxing. First off, beginning with the upper, this upper definitely feels as a whole a lot softer than what you got on the Vapor 15 straight out of the box. And obviously, that's due to the fact that this is made up of entirely knit. This grip knit, atom knit, and fly knit combination is just so soft and super flexible and malleable around my foot. Like, it genuinely feels like a sock, like the way that fly knit boots are supposed to feel. And the grip knit especially is super flexible. I can feel it right here. It's super comfy, super cozy, super plush. I really like that, but not plush in like a thick sense, in like having a sock on your foot, which is really nice. Honestly, in fact, I think I'd compare this upper to the Vapor 13. So, that one from I think it was dropped in 2019 until 2021. Like, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. They're considered one of the most comfortable Vapors in the world. And also, by extension, the Superfly 7, of which I actually have a pair in my closet right now. This upper feels the most similar to those. And based on those vibes, I loved my Superfly 7s. They were extremely comfortable and had one of the most fantastic uppers I've ever played in. So based off of this feeling and the similarity to the 13/Superfly 7, I cannot wait to try these out. I think these are going to be an absolute banger and probably better than what the Vapor 15 had to offer. Laces are very nice. Dual lace whole setup is providing a lot of lockdown and security straight through the middle of my foot. Although there are some things I noticed that because of the laces and I guess the way my ankles are shaped, I'm getting some bulbous protrusion from the actual upper. You can see it's bunching up right here, and then on this side, right here, and right here. And that's like pretty much because of my foot shape. I'm flat footed and I also have narrow ankles, so it just makes for an awkward look. When I lift it up like this, it kind of goes away, but when I'm just kind of planted, you can see that bulbousness, which is kind of annoying. Honestly, I can't lie, but I'm sure it'll sort itself out as I continue to play and train in the boots. Apart from that, the fit and feel is fantastic. They fit true to size. In my size 11 US, my toes are about right here, just a little bit before the lip where the toe box ends, which is perfect for me because that means I can juggle and dribble and shoot without feeling any discomfort or feeling like my toes are making too much contact with the ball. Absolutely fantastic. The heel area is fantastic as well. I'm not getting any pressure from the heel because of that U-shaped cutout that you get right here and right here, which is very nice. And it's very snug and secure despite this dead space around my ankle. It's still wrapping the main heel area very securely, which is nice. It will also aid with that lockdown overall. The lockdown is more or less about the same as the Vapor 15. And now moving into the sole plate, obviously I'm not really going to notice anything from the studs and the traction because I'm not running or doing anything, but you know, it's super aggressive. I expect it to dig in and plant very harshly, especially when I'm playing on like turf, because that's just what bladed studs do. But in terms of the actual air zoom unit, one big feature I'm noticing is that idea of recruiting the whole airbag and feeling the cushion under the entire foot. Like, I really am noticing it. And thinking back to my first time using my Vapor 15s, my FG version, I remember feeling a lot of stud pressure straight through the middle and on like my big toe, like this the joint junction between, I think it's my metatarsal and my phalange on my big toe. I got a lot of pressure there and a lot of pressure there. And I feel the kind of cushion there as a kind of side effect, but I wasn't getting any like real cushion or noticeable cushion throughout the rest of the boot, even though it was still noticeable. So I guess that just means this outsole is just that much more, you know, responsive. And I really like that. I can't wait to use these on the pitch. In terms of the actual outsole itself, I think it looks fantastic. Like, I absolutely love the safari print. And I'm hoping that it's like underneath the sole plate, not like, you know, just the chrome on top of the sole plate, because if this like rubs off, like I want to be able to see like the safari print stuff still there, like looking cool and looking like it's still part of the boot. So yeah, apart from that, not much else to really talk about. I did mention at the start of the video how they changed the swoosh on the Mercurial. They moved it back a bit, apart from having it like straight up on the toe, like right here. They moved it back a bit. And honestly, while I still don't really like it that much, I think it looks a bit better than what I was thinking. Like, at least from the top down view, it looks fantastic. I can't lie. Honestly, I feel these are giving me like the OG Merc vibes from like, you know, 2015, when, because before we had the refresh graphics, this was the 2015 Mercurials, 2016, 2017, 2018. Like the Superfly 4, Vapor 10, Superfly 5, Vapor 11. Those are the last ones to really have that true, you know, swoosh right here. So looking down and seeing this again, I really like that. Like the swooshes on the side are cool and all, but this is how Mercurial swoosh should be done, just in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, that's it for my impressions, more or less. Oh, actually, one more thing, and I will talk about it in the conclusion as well. But these, I used to think they looked really chunky, but honestly, having them on feet, they don't look that bad. Just, I guess it's certain angles and certain photos, certain lighting that make them look a bit chunky, even in hand a little bit. But honestly, having them on feet, they definitely feel a lot more streamlined and nimble than what I thought they would. And that's honestly nice to know, because I thought that these looked much more clunky compared to the Vapor 15 that they were replacing. And so it's nice to know that they maintain that same air of streamlinedness and, like, you know, sleekness that the old Vapor used to have. But anyways, that's truly it for my impressions on this Vapor 15. And now let's get back into the main portion of this unboxing. So yeah, guys, that's it for this unboxing of the Nike Mercurial Vapor 16. Just some extra little facts to add. This pair in particular was $360 Canadian, and as of the time of this recording, they have probably sold out just because of how nice and limited edition the colorway pack is. So if you want to buy them, you'll probably have to look at a resale site like maybe eBay, GOAT, StockX, and then in terms of other locations worldwide, There might be other sites like ProDirect, Soccer.com, etc., that might have them in stock still, but they might be limited on sizes. So if you do want to get this colorway, I would recommend going about it really quickly and picking them up soon because they're not going to last forever. In terms of the other videos I have planned, I will be doing a comparison, as I mentioned earlier, between these and the Vapor 15 Elites, just so you guys can get a better sense of what the difference is between the two boots and which one you should buy. Based off of my initial impressions of the boot, I wouldn't say this is definitively an upgrade. I think I had to get some playing time in this and the Vapor 15 at the same time to kind of really make that decision. But one thing I can say is that silhouette-wise, this has really grown on me, because I remember when I first saw the pictures for these, I just thought they looked very chunky, especially from this like side profile look that you kind of get. But after having them on feet and in hand, I think they've really like grown on me and start to make an impression. And I'm honestly hoping that they're as good as the Vapor 15, if not better, because the Vapor 15 was one of my favorite boots to use. So if these can one-up that, that would be amazing. As I say in all my other videos, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for my other videos coming soon. I will have some other stuff like play tests or maybe just like random training sessions coming soon with the Vapor 16s. I'm kind of getting back to full fitness as well in terms of my knee injury and my hamstring. So just stay tuned for those. Lots of stuff coming. So I hope you guys are anticipating that and, enjoying the content. Take care. I'll see you all in the next video.